Hi there, welcome back to another episode of Talking Pictures. Those of you familiar with our museum will know that we have a large collection of watercolours by architectural draftsman, engineer and artist George O'Brien, and it's some of those pictures that we're going to be talking about today. George O'Brien's believed to have been born in Ireland in 1821. He later moved to Australia, where he married in 1853. The O'Briens resided in Melbourne until about 1863, when they uprooted and moved to Dunedin. Many of O'Brien's paintings seem to stem from his work as an architectural draftsman. This one's an impression of what the Dunedin gasworks, New Zealand's first gasworks, looked like, or at least what it could have or should have looked like. The gasworks began operating in 1863. Much of the plant for the gasworks, including the retort house with its distinctive semicircular iron roof, had come from Melbourne, but only half the building, which was criticised for being overly extravagant, was ever put up, and the rest of the materials were supposedly just left to rot. O'Brien prepared perspective drawings for several Dunedin architects, including William Mason, W. H. Clayton, and R. A. Lawson. Here we have some impressions of proposed designs by Mason and Clayton for a building to house the New Zealand exhibition, which was held in Dunedin in 1865. And here we have a composite picture of buildings designed by R. A. Lawson, with First Church there in the centre. The designing of First Church was what first brought Lawson from Melbourne to Dunedin in 1862. As well as his architectural perspectives, O'Brien's left us with a number of views of the greater Dunedin area, like this one, which takes a vantage point to the south of the town centre and looks north. It takes in several notable features of the city that were developed in the 1860s. The Oval, with its grandstand that was built by Shadrach Jones, especially for the visit of the All England Cricket 11 in early 1864. The fire bell tower that housed a bell called Alexandra, which was named after the Princess of Wales and was christened in 1863. And the 1865 exhibition building, made visible by the removal of the top of Bell Hill. And here's a well-known view from the other direction, which was likely the star piece in an art union of O'Brien's works held in 1870. O'Brien was a founding member of the Otago Art Society, which formed in 1876, and some of his works were exhibited in the Society's first exhibition later in that year. But soon we find life beginning to unravel for the O'Briens. In January 1877, their fourth daughter Lucy died, aged just 10. In 1879, George was declared bankrupt. Shortly after that, his wife Jane passed away. And then he quit his job with the City Council, saying in a letter, "I regret that old age and its infirmities, that bitter domestic disarrangements induced me to take this step," and acknowledging that he hadn't been doing his job as well as he should have. O'Brien was a stout man and was known to be a heavy drinker, which no doubt contributed to his infirmity, and it would appear that he had also become estranged from his family. Now we're going to jump ahead a little bit in time to some of O'Brien's lesser-known paintings in the museum's collection. In 1886, John Torrance, who was chaplain at the Dunedin Hospital and former chaplain at the jail and the asylum, gave a number of lectures on a recent visit he had made to the thermal district around Rotorua. The lecture was illustrated with curios that he'd brought back from the area and by 15 watercolours by O'Brien, enlarged views copied from photographs that Torrance used to represent the various places that he'd visited. Amongst them are several views of the settlement of Ahinimutu on the shores of Lake Rotorua. There's also this view showing schoolteacher Charles Hazard and his family, who Torrance visited at their home in Te Wairoa. Not long after Torrance visited, disaster struck the Rotorua district. On the 10th of June 1886, Mount Tarawera erupted, causing the disappearance of the famed pink and white terraces and burying Te Wairoa and several other villages in ash. Around 150 people perished, including Charles Hazard and 3 of his children, who were killed in the collapse of the Hazard family home and the neighbouring schoolhouse. As well as O'Brien's pre-eruption images that were used by Torrance to accompany his lectures, we also have a couple of paintings which capture the aftermath of the disaster, such as this one showing a settlement buried in ash. And this one showing pumice floating on the surface of Lake Rotorua. In 1888, Dunedin newsagent William Prichter commissioned O'Brien to paint this watercolour of Dunedin. It was commissioned for the Caxton Printing Company to turn into this lithographic print, which Prichter could then sell. O'Brien had been unwell for some time, and he died on the 30th of August 1888, just 10 days after completing this last and perhaps one of his best works. Until next time, thanks for watching.